Hey guys, welcome back to session 12 in the coding and extension for MoreCore tutorial series. My name's Damped, and today we're going to continue working on some very specific character sheet enhancements for our basic expert clone, and we're basically going to be adding in the auto calculation of the saving throws, putting them onto the character sheet, and then we're going to integrate that with the roles using the new role parameters. So we're going to do some code and we're going to use some roles, and it's going to be awesome. So the very first thing that we do here is, actually just finish off the last little bit. We're going to change our string U for our class, and we're going to change it to string labeled. And that just allows us to put a little label underneath the line. So instead of it just having fighter, we'll have fighter and a little class written underneath it. And you can see there that we've changed string U to string labeled. String labeled is another template. And while we're at it, we may as well, because we introduced a new field here, we've got title. And we were calculating title in the last session. We're pulling it out of the database. We're going to add title there in that space to the right of the shortcut link, and we're going to use another string label there as well. And we've got a car label PC title. So in my strings.dbd.xml, I'm going to create a label text resource for car label PC title. And this is what it looks like. You can see fighter and title. Obviously, it's not populated just at the moment. We need to do that in the code as well. So you can see in our manager car DBD script, at the same place as we generate that title or pull that title up and display it into the chat window, I'm just going to insert it there. So we've got a DB set value. I'm going to use the node car that's going to identify the character node in the database. The field is PC title, it just types string, and it's going to use the my title position 1 query from that array, and that's being queried just above, a couple of lines above that. So once we've done that, the title will appear in that field. So moving on quite quickly, we're going to then create a label for our saving throws. So we've got a label, we'll give it a name. We're anchoring it to the stats frame, so we're going to position this underneath our class field. And I've got a static text res PC label save, so we need to add that into the strings_dbd.xml. Then I'm going to move straight on to our boxes to hold the information. So we've got a number NPC score. Now we've created that number NPC score template when we were doing this for the NPCs. So that template already exists in our extension, as well as the label. That's the little label that appears on top of these ones, on top of these number boxes. You can see I've highlighted here the save def and save rod, and there's obviously 3 more saves below that. And they're going to basically have exactly the same syntax here. You can see the very first one, we're positioning it again, we're anchoring it against the saves label. But then each of the next ones, we're just going to anchor them against the previous save. So save rod is anchored against save death, and save paralysis is anchored against save rod, and so on. And you can see what it looks like now. We've got saving throws, we've got death, wand, paralysis, breath, and spells, and those fields are currently empty, but they look like they're all in the right place. And of course, I spend a fair bit of time tweaking those and getting those to position in the right spot. So the next thing I'm going to do is we're capturing the class, and I'm capturing the level. Obviously I've pinched some code here from the NPCs because I've used NHD instead of NLevel, and maybe I should go back and change that to NLevel. But we're going to call a script called set PC save, and we're going to pass it the node car, the S class, and the number of hit dice, which is our level in this case. Now I've had to create that script, and I've done it in the same file just a bit further down the page. We've created a new function, set PC save, and it's going to accept node car, S class, and number HD, and I've just got a debug there just to echo those things back to make sure that I'm getting that correct information. The first time I did it, S-class was coming through as S-class because I declared local S-class after I included it and sent it to the script. So making sure that we've got those in the right order. So I throw lots of debug commands in to make sure that I'm seeing the right things at the right times. My code's got dozens and dozens and dozens of debug statements in there. A lot of them are commented out. Sometimes I've still left a few in there. But then we basically, if the class is fighter, then we're going to look up the fighter saves table, and we're going to we're going to set the value of our character field save.def type number with the value from the array in position 1. Then we do the same thing for save versus rod with the array position 2, save versus paralysis with the array position 3, and so on. And then when we reload, and we will now see that we've got our saving throws there for our level 3 fighter, save versus death as 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 respectively for each of those saving throws, and that's working as expected. Fantastic. You can see I've dragged a level in. Xantar is now a level 3 fighter, and there's known as Swordmaster Xantar. Swordmaster is listed in the title field. Then it says in our chat again, new saving throw values 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. They have been displayed on our character sheet as well. So we're telling the player that these are the things that have happened as they've leveled up, but we're also automating some of them. We're not going to automate the additional hit dice hit points, and we're not going to automate the abilities, but we're going to just flag that information. But what we're going to do next is, right back in one of the earlier videos, we created our saving throw roles, and we used the role parameters so that we could quickly and easily edit these numbers on our saving throw sheet. And you can see these are for our level 1 character, or maybe they were just random roles values entered in at that time because they look fairly high. We've got 17, 14, 15, 16, 17 for those different saving throws. They were set up using the role parameters. What we want to do now is continue to use the role parameters, but we want to use our auto-calculated values rather than these manually entered values. So I open up the save for the breath attack, and I tick the P1 field to hide the parameter, and then I drag the breath saving throw number at the top of the screen, which is currently 14. I drag that down into ref field A, and that field changes from drag field to roll here to save.breath A available. And then in the parameter formula field, I substitute P1 with A, and now that A field is going to link to our auto updating saving throw field at the top, so I no longer need to keep these up to date manually when I change levels. This will do it for me. You can see that it's actually auto updated the dice string at the top, and it's got the 14 value in there now. I'm going to do the same for Death Ray Poison. You can see it again. I've dragged the death saving throw value of 11. I've dragged that down into ref field A, and then I've ticked the hide P1 parameter value tick box, and then I've replaced P1 in our parameter formula with A, and I've done the same for the rest of those roles, and you can see now that they the numbers are no longer displaying on the MoreCore tab in the character sheet. They're auto-linked to the numbers at the top, and I've just dragged in another level of fighter onto our character, and I actually dragged in a couple of levels. So Xantar became a level 4 fighter, Hero Xantar, but at that level there was no change to the saving throws. Saving throws improve in this version every 2 levels, so I dragged another level in, level 5 fighter, known as a Swashbuckler Xantar, and the saving throw values have increased by 1 each, so 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 have become 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and all my roles have auto-updated, and I can now roll those straight from the character sheet. So that's it for this tutorial session. In our next one, we're going to do our to hit armor class 0. We're going to store that in the C4 field in the combat frame, and we're going to do the auto updating of that, and then we can auto update the melee attack down in melee attack role, change how it's using those role parameters. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing whatever it is that you're working on. I hope to see your creations shared in the forum so that other people can learn from what you've done and can also game with your favorite system.